Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're ready to listen to me reading some Reddit stories and also play some Minecraft. These stories that I have found are all very different from each other, so you get a bit of everything in this video. But I do not know what they have, to be honest. I don't know what they're about. I just know mostly the title, and that's it. We're all listening to them for the first time. Cool. Now, this story has the title, Husband has a new chosen family he prioritizes and sees every week. I'm jealous and frustrated. It's just a bit confused. New chosen family? What's that mean? Well, we're gonna figure it out soon. My husband, John, and I are mid-30s and together for 8 years. We've been through a lot of big life stresses. It has strained our marriage and we've worked hard in 2 years of marriage counseling to rebuild. Ooh, marriage counseling. Ooh, that terrifies me. I'm now 8 months pregnant. I'm feeling vulnerable, huge, hormonal, and tired. Why are you having a baby after even... I don't know. Anyways, not my life. I'm the primary earner and workload has been a lot on top of baby prep. I'm normally a very rational, independent, and sort of non-emotive person. I've never been jealous before. How is she pregnant and the primary earner? What is going on in here? It's so confusing. But my husband has a new female friend, Pam, and I'm now jealous and possessive. Even I find it weird. Pam is mid-20s, white, has my husband's preferred physical features, is bubbly, spontaneous, and in an open relationship and into the same hobbies as my husband. I have my own qualities, but I'm pretty much the opposite. John met Pam and liked her immediately. I remember him coming home and telling me how cool she was and that he's been invited to a hobby event she hosts with her partners. The fuck? He's been attending that every other weekend for a year. Then, a few months later, he also wanted me to get to know Pam, so we've started having her and her partner Kevin over with some of our other friends on in the in-between weekends, so my husband sees them every weekend. To be fair, Pam and Kevin have really been nice and are good friends to John, but there are things I've noticed. Pam always sits next to John. She and John say I love you casually to each other with the group. John is very protective of Pam and he remembers things she likes and buys her gifts. Nothing pricey but thoughtful. No, because I can't compute all of this. This is crazy. It sounds like he's treating her better than his own wife. What is going on? If for some reason one of these events is cancelled, John is noticeably sad. Going even a week without seeing them is hard for him. Because of this weekend commitment, we don't go to dates and rush out other activities. If I have other plans, then we split up and don't see each other. We're discussing in counseling but can't come to an agreement. Our counselor facilitates but doesn't give direct guidance. I've shared that it feels like he's prioritizing the relationship over our own. That I hate that these standing date nights with Pam and her partners trump our own. That he's not keeping up with commitments to me or the baby, and I'm managing with my own support network of family and paid help, but at 8 months along, I need help. That this needs to change. Oh, this is so sad. She has a whole baby in her belly, and then he's going and doing all of this. Like, take care of your wife and baby. What are you doing? I'm getting angry. He's shared that Pam and her partners are part of his new chosen family since he's had to move away from his family because of me. Oh, hello? What? So now at least we understand what chosen family means. I said it was okay for him to spend this time with them and I can't just change my mind. It's unfair. He's willing to spend more time with me, but then something else needs to give. Either chores for him or me adjusting my work schedule. He thinks I'm overly sensitive and I'm only worried because Pam's relationships are open and my insecurities are something I should deal with in individual therapy. What? I'm really not sure what a compromise looks like, and counseling seems to just cause us to entrench more. Wondering what advice anyone out there might have. I don't think... there's no advice, man. Just, what? Why has she been with him for this long? There's no way this is the first time he does something so weird. What? Am I being dramatic? I don't know, but this seems absolutely crazy. Especially because they're not in an open relationship. So, anyways, there is an update. It's been a while since. Our little boy is 2.5 years now. Thank you to everyone who commented. It was a kick in the butt I needed to lay down the law. Especially the folks that rightly pointed out that I was a massive doormat without self-respect. That stunk, but was true. Oof. Well, if you had to hear it one way or another, after my post, I had a big sit down with John on the things that I was upset about. My husband was traveling to be a groomsman for a good friend. I told him to stay out there for an additional week and decide if 1, he wanted to stay married and wanted to be a family. 2, if he wanted the above, think about what needed to change on his part, not just Pam, but other stuff too. How he was going to be a good husband, father going forward. And 3, arrange to go over it with me and our marriage counselor on his return. Alternatively, if he didn't do the above, then when he got back, we'd start logistics on separations and co-parenting. And surprisingly, he did all the above. Apparently, he reflected a lot at the wedding. His friend and his wife are such an in-love couple and thought a lot about us and our relationship and what he wanted. He came back and proposed changes. Immediate break from Pam company and to stop their hobby. He'd still play some games, but that was it. He'd take over remaining baby prep, nursery logistics, and promised to lay out a postpartum care for me and the baby. He stuck to his word and also worked hard to regain my trust. Oof. Then we had our son and my husband was over the moon in love. He and the baby have been inseparable ever since and have an amazing adventure-filled life with all the hobbies. Baby, toddler, swim, gym, soccer, co-op, and a great local parent community. After our kiddo was born, Pam lost interest in my husband anyway. She doesn't like kids. And shortly thereafter, cheated on her poly relationship. What? What? Kevin and John have actually become good friends since then, but John is straight, so I have no worries there. And as I've reflected, I think I also just actually hated Pam. She's everything I don't like, relying on men for affirmation, no job, life ambition, frivolous and stupid. And apparently, according to Kevin, the feeling was mutual. She thought I was a controlling, stuck-up, robotic, Ivy League workaholic. Oh my God, these insults are something. Who didn't appreciate or support my husband's hobbies and quirks. I was also a lot more emotional during pregnancy than normal. My husband, upon reflection, liked being needed and admired. We had a lot to work through with us, but 2 years later, we're in a great spot. I also had a weird shift in hormones postpartum, which made my sex drive really, really high, which for us helped a lot with our relationship. Didn't want this to be too long, but there was a lot of changes we implemented to get back to a loving place. John feels a lot of purpose in being a dad and supporting me as my career has taken off. Sometimes things are still hard. My job is really high stress, toddlers are a lot of work, etc. But we're pretty happy. We spent this morning snuggling in bed with our toddler and dog, pretending we were on a boat, making hairdryer sounds and giving hugs. We live a pretty boring suburban kind of life, but it works for us. Thanks to everyone for the push for me to stand out for what I wanted and needed. Well, I'm very happy for them. But I don't know. If it happened once with this guy, I feel like it might happen again. I'm just happy that the kid sounds happy and he seems like he's a good dad. But that just sounds weird. That sounds very weird. Like, this Pam girl is fucking weird, you know? Like, you see that someone's in a loving marriage and has a kid on the way and you decide to do this. What is wrong with you? And then the husband, like, come on, man. You have a kid on the way and you're going out every weekend with an open relationship weirdo. What is wrong with you? I'm not saying being in an open relationship is weird, to each their own. But when you have a kid on the way and this woman seems crazy, what? Okie dokie, cool. I think I'm quite happy with my house for now. I'll probably keep changing things, but it should be all good for now. Let me know what you guys think as well. But I do want to get started on a cool mountain cabin, so I'm gonna go quickly over there. This next title says, my coworker won't stop complaining about my tattoos. Well, this coworker needs to get a life. Respectfully, get a fucking life. I started a new job in December, Carol started in February. Carol! Oh, that sounds like a good name for this. We work for a small company with 6 of us in production. We're not customer facing in any way. Carol was fine with me until the weather warmed up and I wore short sleeves, at which point she discovered that I have tattoos. She took me aside that same day to tell me how unprofessional she thought I was for having them. Mind your fucking business. I pointed out that workplace norms are changing in general and that our particular workplace does not care. It didn't matter, they were unprofessional, and that was that. For reference, we're both women in our 50s. Carol is actually 8 months younger than I am. I'm not the only one with ink, but I'm the only a woman. Ooh. And the shipping guys are in another building, so she probably doesn't realize that both of them do too. Since then, she has spoken to me repeatedly about them, and when I refused to engage, I started with a briskly cheerful, "So you've said, I disagree, then you've said, and I'm not talking about this anymore," and I'm now just ignoring her muttering. She's taken to talking to herself about it. Nah, she's actually crazy. But what is she supposed to do about her tattoos? Fucking chop off her arms? Like, what? And laser? Come on, at 50? That would be the last thing I think about. She's also has gone to 3 of our co-workers to complain about them. Those ladies are all senior to us, but beyond keeping an eye on the production schedule, they are not supervisory in any way. We think she'd like me to cover them, but she knows she doesn't have the standing to say that, and I don't have any reason to. They're not offensive. One set is flowers, the other is geometric-ish paisley, and nobody here cares. I'm dreading summer. This is an elderly building and poorly air-conditioned, and I'm told tank tops and shorts are the norm. Oh yeah. She's going to be really wound up when she figures out the gauntlets she dislikes so much are actually full sleeves. Plus the edges of a few others that will show. Good for her. Our HR person is very part-time and mostly for onboarding benefit type things. I can go to our owner, who I think would be responsive, but this feels like something I should be able to handle on my own, and so far I'm having no luck. Can you provide any advice on a one last try script at shutting her down on the topic, or should I go straight to boss lady? Who the fuck says boss lady? There's an update from 3 weeks later. So, the situation with Carol has been resolved. Yay! I actually spoke to her the same day you posted my letter. Posted my letter? Who the fuck is you? I ran into her in the break room and she started in again. I interrupted her and said, "That's enough. I have asked you politely and now I'm telling you, stop commenting on my tattoos. They don't come off, I'm not going to cover them, and they're not against the rules here. Your obsession with my skin is really weird and I don't appreciate it. This is the last conversation I intend to have with you about this." Such a queen. She was pretty taken back about that. I thought she was being weird, but I didn't give her a chance to keep going. I just went back to work. She didn't speak to or about me for the rest of the week. By the next week, she had settled on stilted past the salt style conversation, but only if it was a group thing. She still wouldn't speak to me personally. Since we don't work on the same projects, this doesn't have any impact on my workflow, so I was okay with chilly silence. It beat the nagging for sure. I really would not mind any silence when people like this exist. Then we went on site to do an installation. We were warned that it would be hot and cramped and to dress in layers we could shed. Of course, the inevitable happened. Carol and I ended up on different teams, and when we met for the mid-morning team swap, most of us were down to a tank top, me included. Carol got one good look and flipped out. What? She berated me about my lack of professionalism in someone else's workplace and caused enough of a ruckus that Jane came to see what was going on. Carol went off on Jane about my continued and blatant lack of professionalism, but Jane shut her down pretty sharply. The team were reshuffled as planned and Carol got put on Jane's team. Apparently, she took that as an invitation to keep going and asked Jane why she hired me and then why she tolerated me. Jane's answer, I hired her for her skill, not her skin. Jen may be my new favorite boss. Then she accused Jane of a lack of professionalism for doing so. I pray she's fired. About an hour after the team swap, Joe, the other owner, came in the company car with the HR lady on her day off and took Carol back to the workshop. She apparently stood all the way back or read the handwriting on the wall, and when they got back, she got out of the car, declared that she couldn't continue to work for such an unprofessional organization and that she had her own reputation to look after, even if we didn't care about ours, got in the car and left. What the fuck is her issue? That was the last we've seen of her, although there have been a scathing review posted to Glassdoor since then. Fucking weirdo. How is she gonna find a job where this won't happen? Obviously, everyone has tattoos now. The next day, Jane had an individual meeting with all of us. On the day after that, a workroom staff meeting. Me, myself, and the 3 senior ladies that Carol had gone to complain to were chastised and for letting it go as far as it did without giving Jane a heads up. Even if it was, this is a thing but I'm handling it, warning. The senior-most coworker pointed out that none of them really had any power to do anything, and that has now changed. There is now a designated workroom supervisor, and on the end of the week, how are things check in between that person and Jane. The workroom is a much calmer place now, and interviews for Carol's replacement start next week. Also, formal tattoo piercings and hair color policies being added to our employee handbook. Basically, anything goes as long as it's safe to have around machinery and not offensive. All in all, it's been a learning experience for all of us, I think. This is just fucking weird. Like, why would anyone go so far to lose their job and, literally quit just because of some tattoos? How is that unprofessional? Like, obviously, what she was doing was way more unprofessional, talking like that to another colleague and speaking like that to the owners and everything. Like, come on, man, have some respect. So disrespectful, and I just don't understand people like that. Like, I know, okay, it was maybe different back in the day and whatever, but she's not that old. And you kind of just have to, get with the times, just whatever, if it doesn't bother you, shut the fuck up.
I found this sick ravine, so I'm gonna go check it out, see if I can find any diamonds or anything else.
Okay, this story just sounds very interesting from the title. So it says, am I the asshole for refusing to buy my boyfriend's daughter a gift and silencing his notifications while I was away on a business trip? Yeah, very interesting. I, female 32, went on an 8-day business trip to Japan. Ooh, Japan! I work as an external consultant for a company. This would be a visit to scale our services. Me and 3 other colleagues would visit, but we would be at the same site for only 2 days until we were spread out to other areas. I was very excited until I told my boyfriend, Brian, male 38 of 8 months. His reaction wasn't very positive. I asked what was going on, and he said he was spaced out because of situations at his job, but he assured me everything was fine. Days later, he asked if I could take him. This caught me off guard, and I said I needed to think about it, and then he said he would want his daughter to come along. I understand his point. She's 17 female, loves anime, and has impressive knowledge on some very niche characters. But also, I have my own kids, ages 4 and 5, and I would rather share the breakthrough with them, although, realistically talking, bringing them would be unprofessional. My accommodations were paid by for the client, and I already confirmed that. I got a very nice accommodation, but it was definitely booked for a single traveler. My colleagues had other rooms. Bringing his daughter would require a separate bedroom or a suite. I would not go back to cancel on the accommodation or ask for a larger space, unthinkable, or do anything to mess up the schedule. Fair enough. When I told Brian, he said I should be able to ask for some changes. I also realized that he wasn't ready to pay for any of this since he said he would reimburse me later. I'm financially okay, but the whole idea of this trip is to make more money, not spend it, and potentially be unable to recover it. Also, this was never a vacation or anything, and he said things that showed me he didn't understand, believed that me and my team and I were on a tight schedule. I could surely spend time with him and his daughter after work, but while bringing them at another time and not in that situation. I didn't ask the client at all because I was embarrassed. Also, I began to worry about his sense of humor. It's not like I've mastered Japanese business etiquette, but I took the time to learn, and Brian sometimes does things that get him in trouble. He would be having dinner with our client and colleagues, and I would either have him stay at the hotel, not a great way to treat a partner, or bring him along if that was permitted. Awkward, especially if he messed up the accommodation schedule. When I candidly expressed this concern, he got extremely pissed off and gave me the silent treatment. Okay, princess. This stressed me out and I told him. I left for the airport while he was still not talking to me. We talked only a few times while I was abroad. His daughter did not reply to any of my messages. I don't know if he falsely told her that she was getting an early high school graduation present, the trip, or if she was just mad at me. I got a hold of a huge plush anime character and took a selfie asking if she liked it. No answer. Okay. About 1 or 2 days before I flew back, he started texting me with requests. He wanted me to get XYZ, this and that, for his daughter and his nieces. I got very angry because she didn't even reply, but he had no problem asking for more and more stuff, and that put me off. I told him that his daughter never replied to any of my messages, and he didn't say anything about it. I ended up silencing his notifications and buying presents only for my family. Queen. That's really good of her. When I got back, all I wanted was to spend some time with my kids since I've never been away from them. I kept putting off seeing Brian until last Friday when we met for pizza, and he looked uncomfortable. He said I let his daughter down by allowing her to think she was getting the plush toy, and also in disbelief when I confirmed that I didn't bring her anything. I told him that I didn't think it mattered since she completely blanked me out. I feel more lost than when this whole thing started. I feel like he thinks a gift for his daughter was the solution for everything, and I disagree. I'm doing my best to create a good future, and I'm a bit on the fence about continuing the relationship. I care about him and his kid, but I'm afraid of being used or dragged down, and the way he pressured me made me really uncomfortable. I'm also a bit hurt because I had built a relationship with his daughter, and not getting a single reply to my message is honestly a bad look. I'm tempted to think that she's either angry because I didn't agree to bringing them along, or that maybe he told her to ignore me. I'm planning on ending things because I need clarity, but also maybe I'm being unfair. I think there's the possibility that he got overly excited and got carried away, but I know he will likely be unable to pay me back. Am I the asshole? I mean, come on, it is a business trip, and giving her the silent treatment, and he's definitely the one that said to his daughter to not speak to her. Kids are very, they would definitely say and do whatever the parent said, so I think it's all his fault. But I also think she should have brought the plushie back to his daughter, because at the end of the day, it's nothing to do with him, and she's still a child. She's 17, so she probably didn't really think things through, and she was probably just doing what her dad said. So I think she deserved at least the plushie. But for him to have all those requests, fuck off, and then being so upset that he wasn't brought on a business trip. Why don't you fucking plan a trip together with everyone, huh? There is a little update from the next day. Okay, thanks to everyone for their advice and input. I just wanted to clarify about the plush toy incident. His daughter and I used to spend time together some afternoons after school while her dad was at work. I did give her spontaneous gifts that she enjoyed. We would email and text email? Sorry, that's weird. We would email and text each other during her time with her mom, joint custody. While I sent the toy picture, I wanted to know if it was up her valley. I would have bought it if she said she liked it, but got the silent treatment instead. I knew some of you think I was wrong for not bringing her anything, but part of my decision to leave him comes from feeling like they acted like an exclusive clique where others can't be accepted unless they give to them. She left me on scene and left me asking hello like an idiot. We broke up last night. He wanted to come to my place, but I didn't allow it. I drove to his place instead and delivered 2 packages that had been delivered at my P.O. box and told him that I would return any mail or package addressed to him from now on. I didn't get off my vehicle. That's a very harsh breakup. Oh. The conversation was very short but very sour. I told him that he acted too greedy and conceited for me to feel any interest in prolonging the relationship. He tried to explain that his daughter was her because she had her hopes set on the trip, but I said this was a lesson for her so that she learns to work for her own things when she becomes an adult instead of piggybacking her way. She's a child. Come on. And also that this is on him as a father. I took off to avoid more back and forth. I asked him to never contact me again and blocked them both. I already changed my locks, changed all my streaming passwords, etc. I mean, I don't know. I don't really agree with her on the child situation. At the end of the day, she's not piggybacking. She's a child. Like, she can't even have a job, you know? So, but I do think it's the dad's fault for sure, because he's the one that put in her head that they can go to Japan, you know? But still, I don't think you should be saying all of that about a child. But I am glad they broke up. The dad sounds just greedy, selfish, and just sounds like he doesn't want to work for any of her things. His things. I made him a woman.
All right. Now, before I start the next story, I think I'm getting kind of tired of this ravine. So I think I'm gonna check out a different biome.
Next story says, my brother-in-law is making claims that he knows my secret and I don't understand. Sounds very weird, doesn't it? Okay. My brother-in-law, 30 male, is my sister's 29 female husband. We live on opposite side of the country and my sister and I aren't that close. So I'd say that we don't know each other very well. We see each other at family gatherings maybe a few times a year, and he's always come off as a very average, kind of quiet guy. I feel like that's the worst insult, average. Like, you're nothing, you know, you're just there. Average? Oh, I'd hate being called that. Anyways, around 2 months ago, I received a text from him out of the blue. It wasn't to check up on me or asking how I'm doing. The message said he's aware of what's going on, but that there was no need for me to worry and he'd keep it hush-hush. What the hell? I wrote a quick message back asking what on earth he meant, but all I received back was another reassurance that I had nothing to worry about and that he was on my side. At that point, I gave up and assumed it was some weird joke, even though my brother-in-law has always been pretty serious. And let's not forget, average. Recently, I was in a Zoom call with my parents and sister. The first thing my sister asked when he saw me was, are you going to tell everyone the truth or just my husband? What the hell? Obviously, I was confused and I mentioned the text message my brother-in-law sent me, but my sister still seemed angry at me and I have no idea why. The next day, I called up my brother-in-law and asked him what the hell is going on with this. I haven't read the whole thing, but I think he's trying to like make it seem like she did something because he doesn't like her or something like that. He's plotting something for sure. He was very cagey on the phone and just kept repeating rhetorical questions back at me, like, do you know what's going on? I'll admit that I lost my temper at one point and snapped at him since he wasn't giving me any answers. Well, fair enough, yeah. That was a bad idea since this morning I got a new text from my brother-in-law telling me that he'd tried to do me a favor and that I clearly don't appreciate. What? He mentioned we'll see what happens this weekend, which is the next time we're all meeting for a late Thanksgiving. Honestly, I'm terrified. The thing is, I have no idea what secret my brother-in-law could possibly be talking about. I don't live a very exciting life and I most likely keep to myself. There's still a part of me that's scared of whatever truth he says he's about to reveal. Even though I don't think I've done anything wrong, what do? What the hell? Like, this just, I don't know, this just sounds like from a TV show or something. I don't know, I think he's plotting something, and all these messages, all these like cryptic like messages and all of that, it's just so it seems like she has things to hide. I don't know. Okay, but there is an update, thank fuck, because I'm very interested in this. It's from 16 days later. Hi everyone, just before Thanksgiving, I posted about my brother-in-law harassing me over a secret. Well, Thanksgiving came and I was terrified. I almost backed out entirely and stayed in bed all day instead of going to the Zoom meeting. I did end up going in the end, and the first 20 minutes were incredibly awkward. My family and I aren't really compatible at the best of times, but there were silences that lasted minutes. Eventually, my mother gave in and said we'd better get this over with. I've never been more terrified in my life. I somehow snapped my phone case in half because I fidget with things when I'm nervous. My brother-in-law started talking about how he'd tried to keep my secret for me, but I clearly wasn't grateful. Like, no one asked you to keep any secret. Why would she be grateful? Anyways, what? And then he told everyone, you should know that she's gay. What the hell? Everything got really awkward again, except for a different reason. My whole family already knows I'm gay. I have no idea how my brother-in-law never found out before now. I don't get on with my family, but me being gay has never been one of our issues. It's something nobody bothers me about and we don't talk about. He thought he was doing something. He really thought he was doing something. What? And why would anyone be like that? Like, why would anyone want you to keep their secret about being gay? Like, what? My sister lost it with him immediately and said, really? This is what you've been going on about? We ended up the Zoom call very early since my parents decided they were tired. But I think they both just didn't want to deal with this anymore and were sick of me and my brother-in-law. What did she do? I've decided to block my brother-in-law's number in my phone since other than this, we had no messages anyway, and I'm not going to be visiting my sister anytime soon. This is crazy. Like, why did he think he was doing her a massive favor for keeping this massive secret? Like, what? And then the fact that everybody knew, he must have been so embarrassed. What the fuck? The sister needs to break up with him because this is ridiculous. What did he think he was doing? Like, okay, so this next one is quite crazy. The title says, my son is detained at the airport and asked about his political beliefs. Our son, 19 years old, landed at Dulles from an international flight at 7 p.m. At 7:45, he texted that he was heading to customs. It's now 11:30 p.m. We haven't heard from him and cannot reach him. That sounds like hell for a parent. I've called the phone number for the airport to page him and for customs, and there's no one there to answer. Both lines say they're closed. We live in Boston. He flew into DC to attend his cousin's graduation before heading home. His phone is going straight to voicemail. What would you do at this point? Then 20 minutes later, his phone was at 65% at 7:45. The last time I was able to track him. He's supposed to Uber to a hotel to meet family there. They haven't heard from him yet and he hasn't shown up. I'll try the airport police. Oof. And then someone asked, is there any reason he may be getting held up for visa or immigration issues? And they say he goes to the American University in Bulgaria. He's an American citizen. He's 19 years old. He's never been arrested. I don't know of any reason why he would be held at customs or have any problems. I spoke with him before his flight, letting him know how crazy America is right now and to make sure there's nothing that would cause a problem. I just got off the phone with the police, gave a description of him and his flight information, and hopefully they'll call me back tonight. Okay, that's crazy. Then there's an update from around 2 hours later, 1:15 a.m. update. Airport police called me back and confirmed he's still in customs. She couldn't tell me if it was long lines or detained. She said the customs officer that she spoke with said he would have him call me when he's able. Why? Like, that's really long. And they also say he's not a Trump supporter, but hasn't posted stuff about it. Oof, that's so scary. Things like this just make me so happy that I don't live in America. There's another update. Finally heard from him at 4:30 a.m. And there's just a voicemail from the son. Mom, please, if you have to pick up, the FBI has seized my phone and my computer and I need help ASAP. I'm at the airport. I don't know what to do. It's like 3 a.m. That's so scary. And then a few minutes later, I booked him an Uber and he finally got to the hotel. He was too afraid to talk too much on the payphone at the airport, but he said he was questioned about his loyalty. They confiscated his laptop and phone. They say he might get it back in a day or two. May? What do you mean May? Give me my fucking shit back. Oh my God, that is just crazy. There's an update from an hour later. I'm heading to DC. We're getting a lawyer, but beyond that, I don't know. Once I speak with him, we'll decide next steps. If it were me in his situation, I would share this all over the place, but he's young. I'm scared of the repercussions for him, especially in this political climate. Fair enough. And then I think this is the final update. There's quite a lot, but, there's a lot of things to say about the situation. This update is from 6 hours later. Hi everyone, thank you for all the response to this post. I was at a point of desperation last night and didn't know where else to turn. The support, concern, and offers to help have been amazing. I was finally able to have a conversation with my son. He's still pretty exhausted and jet-lagged, and I'm sure in shock. Yeah, who wouldn't be? It just feels like you're being detained, it just feels like you're questioned and like you're gonna go to jail. It's crazy. Anyways, at this time, I don't want to provide specific details for his protection. We're going to be talking to an attorney as well as others that may be able to give us a better understanding or clear this up. He's a kid. We just want this to be over for him and to be able to attend college and travel as a law-abiding US citizen that he is. I will let you know, he made his way to the customs stand and handed his passport to the agent. He was asked the standard questions and then they put a yellow card in his passport and told him to go to the other area. He said he was in an area with about 10 other people. They would call people into a room one by one. They searched his bag several times. He was then told to go back down and sit down. There was a lot of waiting and watching other people come and go. He said the initial officer searching appeared to be border control. In addition to searching his bags, they asked him repeatedly if anyone was waiting for him. He told them no, his plans were to go to the hotel to meet up with his family. After several hours, 2 FBI agents came in. FBI? It's just mad. They were asking questions regarding his feelings towards the president, terrorists, and political memes he liked on Instagram. Then sent him back down to wait for long periods of time. They also asked him several times if anyone was there waiting for him. No, he shouldn't have answered the questions and shouldn't have let them search his phone, although clearing through customs, I don't know that he really had a choice. But he's only 19, he was very scared. He had been up and over 24 hours at this point. When they told him he could go, they said they're keeping his phone and his laptop because they're not done searching it and should get them back in a couple of days. This is just so sad and crazy. Like I said, I'm just so grateful I don't live in America because, you just have an opinion about your president and then next thing you know, you're going to jail. This is just, I don't know, man. I'm scared to even say too much myself, fucking hell. Anyways, luckily he remembered my phone number without having to look it up on his phone that he didn't have. He said he was worried we didn't know where he was and didn't know what was happening to him. That's when he was finally able to call me around 4:30 a.m. He was detained from about 8 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. He's done nothing wrong. There was not a specific activity he participated in that they questioned. Specific group that he belongs to, nothing. From what I gather, they were trying to find something. They found nothing, so now they have his laptop and phone. How absolutely terrible is this? Honestly, and it's just all forced, I'm just in disbelief. And they can just search his whole phone, laptop, everything. Where's the privacy, If there were suspicions about something actually important happening, okay, but what, just because of memes and opinions about the president? Are you joking? Are people not allowed to have opinions now? This is just very sad. I was planning to go to America, but now, to be honest, I think I'm not gonna. Okay, so this next story says, my daughter wants me to rename her. I haven't read this. All of the stories I'm reading for the first time, so we were both listening to them together for the first time. And it just sounds very emotional. So let's get into it. My 18-year-old daughter came out as a transgender woman. My husband and I have been 100% supportive, and I very much welcome another girl in the house. She has 3 brothers. Oh, this is so sweet. I love how they're being supportive. She expressed initially that she was comfortable going by her birth name as it is gender neutral, but after turning 18 and getting ready for college, she's decided she needs a new name. And she wants me to choose it. She says that she still wants to be named by her mama. I melted. That is so sweet. Oh, I love this story. I come seeking ideas. Her only parameter is that it's nothing that seems like she renamed herself. By this, I'm assuming more out there names are out. It's such a challenge picking a name for someone you already know so well and not a newborn. Yeah, that makes sense. Because, yeah, you already know how they are and you can actually choose something that really suits their personality. Because as a baby, you don't know how they're going to be later on when they grow up. So I don't know, it's very interesting. She's incredibly intelligent, bookish, shy but spunky, and a total sweetheart. Gorgeous, curly red hair and freckles. We are a family of Jewish-Irish descent, and her brothers are Lev, Raphael, Raph, and Elias. I never had girl names picked out, as I found later in the game. Do any names come to mind with this description? Her middle name will be Miriam, family name. Thank you in advance. I see a lot of people giving options. There's a few cute ones. There's Eliana, Alicia, Caitlin, Callie with a C, Kira, Phoebe, Nadia, Natalie. And yeah, they're all very, very cute. I think they would all suit. If I would choose, I think Alicia is just such a nice name. Alicia. I think it's very cute. Anyways, there is an update from 9 days later. Let's preface this by saying that this will be long and mushy. I took this very, very seriously and would love to show the experience. Feel free to skip to the bottom for the name reveal. First of all, I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for the outpouring of support. The love far outweighed the hate, and we were absolutely awestruck by the support. I still have quite a few private messages to get through, but please know that I will read each and every one of them and do my best to respond. That is so sweet. I love this family. This family is so precious. I got quite a few comments asking why I would post to Reddit when my daughter asked me to name her. The answer is that I'm simply not a very creative person, and trying to come up with a name from scratch is so hard. I haven't named a baby in 16 years and we have an enormous family. It's difficult to think of names that we love and aren't taken. I came here for inspiration and received more than I could have ever wished for. Going about choosing was incredibly difficult, but I eventually got my list down to a top 3. They needed to pass a few tests. 1, does the name suit her? 2, would 2006 me have chosen this name? And 3, does it sound out of whack with her brother's names? And most importantly, does she love it? I brought the top 3 to her and she said, "Mom, this is defeating the purpose. I don't want to choose." So I had another idea. We would have 3 little coffee lunch dates around the city and use a different name to order with, so she could fill each name out and see if any of them were definitive no's. That is so cute. That ruled out Talia. Gorgeous name, but didn't feel quite right to her. Aviva was also a top contender that didn't make the cut. I mulled over the final 2 for what seems like years, but I chose and she expressed that it was secretly her favorite too. It felt like divine intervention to be in this situation. I'm the incredibly proud mama of Esther Miriam. I absolutely love it, and so does she. Essie May evolved as a nickname from her father overnight, and it made me fall in love even more. May was the nickname of her namesake, and she happens to be a May baby. Esther also has immense meaning to us as Jews, and I can absolutely say that 2000 and me would have chosen it. The runner-up was Naomi. I could not have done it without this forum. Thank you all so very much for sharing this with me. This is adorable. I love this, and I'm so happy that she loved it, and I love the nickname Essie May. It is so cute. This is just adorable. I just love this whole story, and I hope they're gonna be happy forever. And yeah, this title says, me 26 female and boyfriend 29 male of 3 years just had our first baby. We're white, baby is black. I have a close black ancestor, but significant other is furious and accusing me of cheating. Oof, I don't know. I don't even know whose side I'm on. As the title says, me and my significant other just had our first baby. We were over the moon when we discovered the pregnancy, and we were both really excited to have a child together. We wanted to get married next year, and everything was going great. We were happy. We both look very white, pale skin, blue eyes, brown and blonde hair. However, my great-great-grandpa was black, and some of his features have popped up here and there in our family. Kinky hair, darker skin, more black-looking facial characteristics. My significant other knows this and has seen some of my aunts, uncles, and cousins who have had these features. I, however, don't have any myself, and neither does my mum. Our daughter was born 5 days ago, and I guess she just got all the dormant genes in me, because she's really dark-skinned compared to us with really curly hair. I think she's adorable, but my significant other flipped. He accused me of cheating, that the baby couldn't possibly be his. Oof. I mean, if the great-grandpa, I don't know. To be honest, who am I? I don't know how these things work, really. Anyways, I've never given him a reason to suspect me of infidelity, and I've certainly never cheated. We argued about it. I pointed at all my cousins and other relatives who have black features, but he absolutely refused to listen, said our daughter looked too black for that to be a plausible explanation. He stormed out of the hospital, sent me a text an hour later that we were over, and when I got home from the hospital the next day, he wasn't there, and most of his personal belongings gone. Oof. I tried to reach him, but he didn't answer my calls or texts until 3 days later. When he told me he demanded a paternity test to prove that I was a liar, and if I refuse, I'll never see him again. I'm completely broken down and hurt over this. Our entire relationship has been so sweet and rational. This is completely unlike him. If he just calmly asked for a paternity test to begin with, I would have been hurt, but I guess I could understand the concerns. Our daughter looks nothing like him. Okay? But I don't think our relationship can survive this, even when I proved to him I wasn't lying. Should I go through with the test or just cut my losses here and raise her alone? Oh, I don't know. This is just... I mean, I guess he was just so excited to have a baby. He must have been just like disappointed that it might not be his, it might be someone else's. But to react like this is a lot, right? I don't know. It's just like she's gone through a lot, you know? But also if you think she's cheating, I don't know. You need trust in a relationship, right? And the thing is, if she didn't have any genes of, you know, black characteristics and everything, black heritage, then okay. But I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Anyways, there is an update from 5 days later. I really hope this was resolved and they got the paternity test. It was his baby and everyone lives happily ever after. Because, I don't know, raising a baby by yourself is not really the best thing. It's not really the easiest. But anyways, obviously it's her choice. Okay, so the update is from 5 days later. Hey guys, first of all, I want to thank all the original commenters who helped me see my significant other side and calm me down enough to take the test. Well, the results are in, and of course, she's his. The whole process was absolutely ridiculous. I got an appointment with the doctor and texted my boyfriend the time and location. He didn't answer but showed up, and the entire time he didn't say one word to me, and he didn't want to touch or even look at the baby, and left as soon as they had taken his sample. That's horrible. Even though the doctor asked him to stay so we could go over a few things. Once he left, I just broke down, and I must say the doctor was really nice, didn't judge me or accuse me of anything, just calmly went over how the test works and told me babies are often born darker than they actually end up being. Baby was an absolute champ, barely fussed when they drew her blood. Oh, that's kind of what I was so upset about. Like, doing a paternity test means you have to, I don't know, like, this is just so sad, you know, getting blood from a little baby. Anyways, I got the results yesterday. I texted significant other the news and asked if he wanted to come over and open it with me. After almost half an hour, he finally responded. Yes, he'd like to come over. I'm thinking he either sent it while on his way or he's not staying very far away because he was here in about 15 minutes. Well, we opened it and read the positive test together. He turned white like a sheet and then just started bawling. I had to shush him because he was crying so loudly. And finally, I got an explanation for his flip out. I mentioned in a comment on the old post that he was an only child to very old parents. His dad died a few years ago and his mom lives alone a few hours drive from us. I haven't met her often, but she seemed pleasant enough. Turns out she hates me, absolutely hates my guts and always has. What the fuck? I had no idea about this. She's always acted kind of snobby, sure, but I had no idea she disliked me this much. When significant other called her to tell her the good news 8 months back when we discovered the pregnancy, she started crying. He never told me this. And as the months passed, she continued being super negative about the whole thing and saying she doubted the baby was actually his. I was below them. Poor people cheat because they're raised in a fucked up environment. This is, see, like everything is just about fucking communication. Like if you communicated all of this, I think most of these things would have been resolved and none of this whole issue would have even happened in the first place. Obviously, he would have still been upset and probably wanted a paternity test, but maybe later on. But I don't know. And his mom is crazy. And I don't know, why wouldn't you tell your girlfriend about all of this? Anyways, instead of talking to me about this, he kept silent while constantly doubting me more and more. Baby being black just put a final nail in the coffin and his mother was right and I was a good-for-nothing cheating bitch. I hate his mom. After telling me all of this, we just sat in silence for a while. Finally, he asked if he could hold the baby. I was still angry as hell, but decided that holding her was his right. He's her father after all. I went and got her from her crib, let him have her, and he started crying again, which scared her, and she started crying too. So they were just sitting there bawling together for a while. Finally, he stopped, handed her back, and asked if he could come home. I was kind of taken aback. I didn't expect him to just flat out ask that already. I laid out everything I said in the last thread, how insanely disrespectful and childish he's been, how he's horribly broken my trust, hadn't talked to me about his mom's poisonous and ignorant comments, completely ignores me for 3 days, not telling me where he is or even if he's alive, and then he just waltzes in and wants to start living here again. Yeah, that's fair enough. Like, he's not acted right, especially, she just had a baby, you know? And then the whole mom situation is just disrespectful, very disrespectful, and you're just not a good partner if you don't communicate. I'm sorry. I told him if he ever wanted to have some inkling of a chance of mending the relationship, we had to go to couples therapy ASAP. From now on, he will answer my calls and messages unless there is an emergency. He will not be staying here for a while, and finally, he needs to tell his mom to back the fuck off. She will not be seeing the baby until she apologizes to me in person. He immediately agreed and finally told me how sorry he was for his whole fiasco. I'm not sure if I can forgive him for this, but I'm gonna try. We had an amazing life before this, and I hope that with a lot of work, we can have it again. Significant other also finally told me that he was staying in a hostel, but it's not very expensive, so he can stay there for a while longer. Baby is doing great considering how many stress hormones she must have been drinking from me these last few days. Her hair is falling out, but the doctor told me it was normal and babies often lose most or all the hair they're born with. I'm hoping her new hair will grow blonde. That would make her even cuter. Thank you all for your help on the last thread. My mom agreed with many of you and thinks I'm absolutely nuts for trying to work things out, but I think it'll be best for everyone if we at least give it a shot, especially the baby. Yeah, I think it's crazy, and he acted in a absolutely disrespectful way towards her and the baby. But if they had a good relationship before and he can really, really make it up to her and the baby, then maybe there is a chance for them to stay together. But the mom is just... The thing is, I just don't think I could forgive the mom. Like, obviously, okay, it's his mom, so I'd probably be like, okay, whatever. But I could never like her. Like, this is just so sad. You finally have a grandchild and you act like that. Come on, man. Okay, now it's the end of the video. If you're asleep, I'm very happy. That means I did my job. If not, thank you for watching this whole video, and please let me know your opinions about any of the stories, because obviously every opinion is subjective and it's nice to kind of understand other people's point of views. Thank you. Bye.